I'll do the tutorial first. When I tested this, it took me a bit to get into because I didn't really understand, but that's more of a user problem than anything else. Hello, cat. Okay, you can't be here today. You can come over here. But then I got to some more of the difficult platforming sections, and I immediately love this game.
Yeah, like there's that moment. This game definitely has that kind of aha moment.
So, this is the King's Bird.
And this is currently in early development, right?
Yeah, very early. In fact, we are scrapping everything you're seeing right now. Don't tell this to everyone.
Oh no!
So the funny thing is, we just made the decision to forego working on this game using GameMaker. So everything that we have right now is in GameMaker, and we realized that porting it to consoles and everything is just too difficult for a small team like ours.
Very true.
But by the way, the screen share isn't quite working right now. It's just a giant screen.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm just watching the stream to see what's going on, which is fine.
Okay.
So yeah, we're actually gonna be remaking this in Unity, just to make porting a little easier.
Oh man, that is gonna be a little bit of time lost in the short term, but in the long term, porting will be much easier.
Yeah. I mean, the best way to describe this game is that we're trying to create a video game that it's kind of it's a precision platformer that is all focused on freedom, flight, and flow, and a lot of the controls of the game is intentionally designed for controllers and for consoles. So it's kind of your Dust Force for consoles, in a way.
I want to say this is everything Sonic the Hedgehog should have been. Just saying.
That's actually pretty much the #1 feedback we get when we show this game at shows. Yeah, I think actually we had a chance where Mr. Tim Schafer, he saw this game at PAX Prime when we were showing it at the Indie Mega booth, and he was so intrigued by it, he stood in line for 15 minutes so that he could try it out, and I think he said the same thing afterwards.
That's awesome. That must have felt really great. It's amazing when you have somebody that you really look up to and admire come and spend the time to really discover what you're making. That's
totally.
Wow.
Totally.
Sorry, I'm just swooping right now.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, so right now we only have 2 levels that kind of show off the 2 major game mechanics that you can see, which is the wall dash and also the cape mechanic. So yeah, I mean, the story of the game, The King's Bird, it features the main character is this girl. We just named her. Her name is going to be Quill. So she is trapped in this kingdom where it's ruled by this tyrant king that is kind of preventing all of his citizens from leaving, and all these citizens are trapped in this kind of caged kingdom. So eventually Quill escapes from the kingdom, finds these artifacts that help her escape essentially, and then she wanted to use her abilities to go ahead and free the citizens. So she goes back and tears down the barriers preventing its citizens from freedom. And after she does that, she realizes that there's a reason why the king erected that barrier to begin with. And I won't spoil the story too much, but it's supposed to be, it's a very emotionally engaging story about the duality between freedom and chaos, and tyranny and order.
That's awesome. That's very cool. I mean, to try to reach that level of depth in a platforming game is always appreciated, I think. Like giving people this like story and these feelings, giving people feelings. That's what it is. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games out there that are very hardcore, like Dust Force, for example,
Yes.
right? It's very hardcore. It's actually super fun, even for like casual gamers, but it's really hard for them to get into a game like that. And then there are games kind of like Limbo, which is very emotionally engaging. But for the hardcore gamers out there, like the Dust Force fans, when they play Limbo, they enjoy the story, and then they kind of just, they're like, okay, well, that's a good story. Now I'm going to go back to playing Dust Force, or I'm going to go back to playing Binding of Isaac or something like that. And
Right.
essentially this game kind of, with this game, we want to open up some horizons for gamers, where people who really like Limbo's story can realize that, hey, maybe I can play a precision platformer and really perfect my craft. Or we can show it to people who like Dust Force and be like, oh wow, I can have a really beautiful, engaging story and learn something about how I feel about this world while playing this really hardcore game.
Oh, no, that's okay. Well, we'll go back this way. And I feel like for myself, like, yes, I enjoyed Limbo, but I couldn't get past the whole puzzle thing. I've never finished it. That's my little sin there. But I never finished it because I can't puzzle to save my life. And this is platforming. This is, you know, more casual than Dust Force, but still pretty difficult. And it feels good when you go fast in this game. It feels good.
It's hard, like watching you play. I'm like thinking about how I felt playing it. I'm like, this isn't good enough. People need to be touching this game right now. There's something about the flow and the character control that you have in it that is just, it's a beautiful experience. Like the swooping, I could just swoop for days. I don't know.
Yeah, we actually have a fairly complex momentum kind of calculation in the background. It took us about a year to actually build this. We started Pixel Galaxy and the King's Bird at the same time. And the Pixel Galaxy got released already and the King's Bird is still in free alpha. So that kind of shows you just how much effort we put into perfecting the mechanics before we even considered turning this into a real game. So yeah, as you can see, if you just hold them, yes, exactly. Yeah. All right.
I had to do that because that is what feels good. That like there is so good to just swoop, and this specific area because you can get a lot of momentum just by like the whole going fast thing. I gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point of the game, right? It's a speed running game. At the end of the level, you get to see your scores, how many times you died, how many collectibles you got, and how long it took you to beat the level. And we're gonna have the same kind of mechanics like Dust Force did, where you can see each other's replays and have worldwide leaderboards to try to speed run the game. And I mean, for someone who is purely a platformer player who maybe look for puzzle platformers that are story oriented, they're going to be exposed to a completely new world through something like this.
I love that you're trying to expand gamers' portfolios, so to speak. That's awesome. And how much, like you're saying that you spent a really long time getting everything for the controls and like the game feel right. Now that you're moving it over to Unity, how big of an issue is that? Are a lot of those calculations gonna transfer over really well, or are you really concerned about that?
We're not too concerned about that. It's actually not too bad because most of it is just kind of math equations that we're porting over. Ultimately, it's just having to separate ourselves and start anew. That's kind of the hard part for all this. Our lead programmer behind this game, who did all the mechanics and all that, he's been working in Game Maker since the age of like 12, and he's made a lot of games with it. And he originally insisted on making this game in Game Maker because of his familiarity with the engine. So that separating him from that is gonna also be kind of difficult for a smaller team,
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to the flow, you were talking about this earlier. One of the things I want to bring up is Journey is actually probably one of the most influential games for us for this game. Journey, not necessarily your precision platformer, but at the same time, it's very flowy, very continuous. I think is a good word to describe it. You just kind of play it from one beginning to the end without ever feeling any kind of breaks in the middle. We kind of use that as inspiration in designing this game, just in terms of how the game should feel.
Wow, it's so good. It feels. I don't want to. It feels so nice to play this game. I love how like you can convey like I'm assuming there's gonna be like a good portion of the story. Do you plan on going down like the Limbo route where it's like quiet and silent to tell a story and have the like things happening, or do you plan on having some dialogue and more storytelling that way?
So we're still kind of in the process of thinking about what to do there. I'm definitely confident in saying that we want a minimal story, something that doesn't require like literal dialogue, just because I feel like it takes away from the game too much if you have something like that. A minimal story like this. I mean, you can tell a story without words.
Oh yeah.
And we because we built the game with accessibility as one of the main things. I mean, having a language barrier is gonna turn people away too.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to make it as accessible as possible, and and still have that kind of deep emotional story. One of the things that inspire us a lot in terms of storytelling is the old school Prince of Persia games. I'm talking about like MS-DOS, Prince of Persia 1 and 2. I mean, those games tell very deep stories, of the tragedy and of the prince, and how he kind of went back and saved the princess from Jafar. His name was Jafar. I don't remember his name, but you know what I mean.
Prince of Persia Disney crossover.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's a huge inspiration for us, and in terms of story building, we're probably gonna go the same route.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause I know there's a lot of I don't say a lot of platformers, but you are correct. A lot of stories are told without lyrics, or not lyrics, without words, or even like made up languages. Like, it's very powerful how you can convey a message just through emotion of a character. Like, you don't need to speak their language. You know that they're distraught or they're trying to save somebody.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things with the game is already so expressive. You have very expressive motions, and we can easily turn the motions into emotions, right? And using color changes like that, for example, turning the background, using settings where you have all these thorny vines that are just clearly so dangerous. You can tell a story through the setting. You can tell stories through your actions and what's going on the screen. And ultimately, essentially, we're gonna try to make the player cry essentially at the end of the game to using these tools.
That's awesome. I'm just this is a constant thing for me, but I wish we had more time because I have so many more things I would love to hear you expand on and talk about, especially in this a realm of like all of these games that you're making that are kind of trying to make the world a better place and like expand people's horizons. And my goodness, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed with how amazing indie devs are, and in general, as well as the amazing things that you as a team are doing. It's just fantastic. Do you have any last minute words? Because we're gonna have to wrap up in like 2 minutes and switch streams and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you went back to that one point. I guess I'll kind of go back to that too as the final comment that I make. I mean, I assume there's a lot of game devs in the stream right now, kind of watching this. And one of the things that I truly believe in is that we have a tremendous amount of power as game devs in our modern society. Whether if you're making an iPhone game or making the next big title for the Xbox, there's millions of people that are going to be playing our games. I think it's very critical for us to be ethical in our game design. When we create video games, why not add some value to it? Kids nowadays, they prefer to play a video game over reading a textbook in pretty much any circumstance. Why not add some educational value, some artistic value, creating games like Gone Home, instead of games like I won't say any specific titles, but games that just really waste people's time and really get nothing out of playing. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of I guess my final comment is that we as game devs, it's important to think about ethical game design and designing games for good, and that's what we're out to do with Serenity Forge, and I hope that other game devs also start doing the same.
Heck yes, I think that's a wonderful message to end with. I'm also in chat. I'm going to post a link to get oh my gosh, I can't even type anymore. It's a little, I've been doing this for too long. There's a link to Pixel Galaxy, and I'm gonna also be tweeting. Right, not tweeting. Yep, I'm awake. I got this, guys.
English,
And-
what is?
Yeah, indeed. And I believe you've also got the King's Bird has its own website as well. So
Yeah,
let's pop that in.
and you can find all of that on our website too, just serenityforge.com.
Yes, wonderful. If you have a Twitch account, you can by all means jump into chat and give people as many links as you want.
Sure, yeah, I'll go ahead and type this. So yeah, I mean, our team is just Serenity Forge at Serenity Forge. And then my personal one is just my full name at Zhenghua Yang. I guess I'll type that. That probably should have explained more, but that's whatever.
No, it's great.
Explanations.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm thrilled at what you're doing, and I wish you and your whole studio the best of luck.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the experience. You guys are doing an amazing thing too for our indie game devs, and I already thanked you so many times via email. Let's say it one last time on stream. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.